All right, hey guys, so we're gonna work on painting this, and I'm gonna show you guys just a few different tricks and tips to painting a large section, like the background. You could also have potentially, added different things. So like this one added polka dots and then so it broke up the space. So I'm gonna talk about how to paint two different styles like this. So I'm using watercolor. So here's my watercolors. And I have my water and my paintbrush. Now, if you have a big fat paintbrush, that would be a better option. But for the most part, this is the paintbrush that everybody has. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and get my water and I'm going to put it in my paint. And remember, you're not pushing really hard. You're just pushing pretty light. And I want a good puddle and I want it to be nice and colored, like my water colored before I begin. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this and then I'm going to rinse my brush out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually paint with water first. Now, not a whole lot. I'm not soaking my page, but I'm going to go ahead and paint around my reindeer. And then I don't want this to dry either. So I'm going to go ahead and keep painting and paint up to about halfway right up here. I'm going to just stop kind of where this antler is so I know where my stopping point was. Okay, I'm going to get my brush wet again and I'm just going to go ahead and pick up some of this green. I chose green and I'm going to paint. Now see how it's really light? Okay, that's kind of what you want. You don't want a real dark background because you want your reindeer to be the main focus. Okay, and when you're painting with water first, the great thing about that is that it should all be relatively the same shade. So this is about where I stopped. And then I'm gonna, move that paint around and then I'm gonna go ahead and just grab more water and then continue painting all the way around my reindeer. So that's kind of how you paint a larger background and being able to keep it all, one consistent shade the whole time. And then you would just continue to move around your reindeer, okay? And continue with your background. All right, once you have the background done and you want to go ahead and paint on your actual reindeer, a few different things that need to happen. You need to make sure that when you touch your paint, it doesn't come off on your finger. Like this side is already dry, but then when I touch this side, it's still wet and I can feel it. So I need to wait and make sure that this side is more dry before I continue on. I could also potentially just work on like the nose and start painting maybe these bows. So when you have, a smaller space, like let's say these bows, for example, and I want my bows to be, I'm going to do mine purple, right? So again, I'm getting my water, I'm making a puddle of water in my watercolor. And then you want to make sure that you wipe off, I know you can't see this, so hold on. You want to wipe off most of your color. So there's some, like I got color, wiped off most of the color. So there's going to be a little bit left in my brush, but this is such a tiny area, okay? And you're not going to push hard with your brush either, because if you do, what's going to happen is your bristles are going to all spread out and then it's going to go kind of everywhere. So I'm going to paint this. And if you still have too much paint on your brush, you can just wipe it off again. If you have a paper towel, you should be wiping it on the paper towel, and you can kind of move your paint around. And I wanted those to be lighter. So I'm actually going to take some of that one off, which I just rinsed my brush and then picked back up the paint. So that's kind of how you paint a tiny section. Now, this is wet, so I don't want to paint my antler right now either. So then I can go through and, get some more water and get my red, and then I can paint, my nose. If you want your nose to be black, whatever you choose. I like the red noses like Rudolph. I think they're fun. And then you could always, glitter your nose if you chose, or leave it like that. But I'm gonna end up glittering mine. So I'm not gonna paint it super, super red, but red enough that there's no white showing through. All right, now I've touched this and this is plenty dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my brush and then get my brown. And then you wanna do the same thing. You don't wanna use too much paint at a time. So you know, you're getting your brown and you're kind of wiping it off. And then, you know, you are gonna start, I just painted my nose, so I can't paint right there. I'm gonna start down here. I'm gonna paint the body and its neck. Now when I need to get more color, you know, you should always get some water, go back in your color. Again, wipe most of it off and then go ahead and paint your reindeer. All right, and the last thing I want to show is antlers. So antlers are not brown and they're not really white or anything like that. They're more like a yellow, but not bright yellow. So I'm gonna get my water, get my yellow, and I'm gonna actually paint it yellow and then I'll let it dry and then I'll take some really watered down brown and paint on top of it, just like we did when we layered our cactus. All right, and that is my finished product, like this. All right, now let me give you some helpful tips and tricks if you're gonna be using, say, colored pencil. So that's what I'm using on this one. When you color, you know, I outlined mine in Sharpies. You always wanna color one way and the same pressure the whole time. So if I'm coloring this, I'm gonna go all the way from the top to bottom, all the way over. I don't ever stop. Now you can always give yourself an inside outline and that might help you get towards the edge closer. But if you have that Sharpie line, you shouldn't need to do an inside outline. Okay, so you'll always, if you're coloring with color pencil, want to color one way. When you color all different directions, it just looks sloppy. So I would go through and I would color, you know, each of these polka dots. Now, when you're working on the background, it's kind of where a lot of kids are like, I always suggest using a lighter color anyways. And then you still want to do the same concept. You still want to color always, you know, one way, even around, you know, these objects. So even though I'm coloring, you know, up and down here, I stay up and down the whole time, up and vertical this way, vertical this way, vertical this way. And you just continue. Don't ever change the direction. And what that does is it makes it look like it's one uniform color the whole time. And that's kind of really it with the color pencil, just making sure that you stay one direction and one pressure the whole time. And that's really it. I hope you guys enjoy your little reindeer and I look forward to seeing your completed projects.